Would have been likely open.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for our Village of Alsip committee meeting. Today is August 26, 2019. We'll call this meeting order at 7:30. Can we call the roll, please?
Yes. Trustee Dalzell?
Here.
Trustee Zielinski?
Here.
Trustee Juarez? Here. Trustee McLaughlin? Here. Trustee Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Nava Esparza? Here. Mayor Ryan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to start the meeting, before we get to our reports, with a bid opening. First one is for Public Works, and this is for the removal and replacement of sidewalks.
Thank you, Mayor Ryan. The first bid we have is from White Line Construction Incorporated, 4722 South Spalding, Chicago, Illinois, 60632.
Mike, I didn't have it on the agenda here, but what did we say? It was 400 square feet of sidewalk?
A little bit under. It's 8,000 square feet altogether.
8,000 square feet total?
375 squares.
375 squares on a sidewalk. Okay.
They have included a bid bond. Mr. Frater, do you want the dollar amounts for all three pages read into the record? Okay. 2019 Alsip sidewalk removal and replacement specification and guidelines. Number 1, concrete sidewalk 5 inches, $10 per square foot. Number 2, concrete sidewalk 7 inches, $10 per square foot. The second sheet is continued ADA detachable warning unit, $28 per square foot. And on the total page it says $81,400. So again, that is $10 per square feet for 5-inch concrete sidewalk, $10 per square feet for 7-inch concrete sidewalk, $28 per square feet for ADA detachable warning unit, with a total of $81,400. The second bid we received is from Davis Concrete Construction Company, 11621 South Mayfield Avenue, Alsip, Illinois, 60803. They also have included a bid bond. Concrete sidewalk 5 inches, $12 per square feet. Concrete sidewalk 7 inches, $14 per square feet. ADA detachable warning unit, $40 per square feet. Total bid amount based on the specifications is $99,000. Again, total is $99,000. ADA detachable warning unit is $40 per square feet. Concrete sidewalk 7 inches is $14 per square feet, and concrete sidewalk 5 inches is $12 per square feet. And that concludes the bid opening for the removal and replacement of various sidewalks.
Okay.
The next bid opening is for sewer and water. It is for Pulaski Road, 120th Street Water Main Extension. Here we have two bids as well. The first proposal is from Trine, T-R-I-N-E, Construction Corporation, 27W364 North Avenue, West Chicago, Illinois, 60185. They have included a bid bond. Mr. Triben, I'm just going to read the total. Okay. The total for their proposal is $410,864. Again, that's 410,864.00. The second proposal received is from Aries, A-I-R-Y' Incorporated, Site Utility Contractors, 7455 West Duvan, D-U-V-A-N Drive in Tinley Park, Illinois, 60477. They, too, have included a bid bond. Their total is $402,541. That is 402,541. And that concludes the bid opening there, Ryan.
Very good, thank you. Okay, we'll get to our reports, and then there's a few people here representing different aspects of our committee meeting this evening, so I might ask that we take a couple of these out of line and to observe be a little observant of their time here with us this evening, too, trustees. As far as my report goes, first I want to thank Chief Szynski, Joe Schmidt and his wife Edith for attending a ceremony with me over the weekend for Doug Daniels, who passed away a couple weeks ago. He was our fire prevention officer. My assistant Becky Smith did a great job. She put together a nice little plaque to honor Doug Daniels, remembering his service to our community for the past 6 years. Super nice ceremony at a Methodist church up in Downers Grove, and he was a retired captain, right, for Westmont Fire?
He was at Westmont, I believe, a little over 30 years.
30 years with the Westmont Fire Department, and he retired from us. Unfortunately, he passed away from an illness and stuff. So, again, thank you, Tom, for being out there with me on Saturday. And then also, when we were talking at last week's meeting, I want to apologize. I neglected to mention Public Works and Water. You guys did a great job at National Night Out, and thank you very much. You guys really, your guys are the hands-on. You know, with we had to move all the equipment and everything else, and you guys are the last one to leave the site at night, so thank you and your men. You guys did a nice job at National Night Out and so forth, and along with all the other volunteers that we had out there. Thank you. Over the last bunch of weeks, this whole summer, and again, I got a chance yesterday to witness it. I want to thank both police and fire departments. You guys are doing a great job representing the community at all of our block parties. No complaints. Everybody's very happy, and thank you for bringing out like the 4x4 with the police department. All the kids get a kick out of that. And yesterday I was at a church in our community, and we had fire department come out. It wasn't feasible to run the hose across the street. Didn't want somebody running over the hose and having to buy you a new hose and stuff. So unfortunately, they brought a lot of gifts for the kids, the helmets and all that kind of stuff, and it was a good showing and so forth. And so thank you, Tom. Nice job on that. I want to just let everybody know that Trinity Christian College is planning their 60th anniversary coming up. If anyone's interested, Trinity Christian College in Palos Heights will hold a gala to celebrate this milestone 60th anniversary in late September. The event's planned for 7 p.m. till midnight, Friday, September 27th, at the Hilton Chicago Oakbrook Hills Resort and Conference Center, 3500 Midwest Road in Oakbrook. A news release from the school says there will be gourmet food stations, craft beer, cocktails and wine, interactive displays, dancing at the event. Alums of the school are encouraged to attend. This is a fun and celebratory event, and it is one that will only happen once, and it's something you won't want to miss. Tickets for this event are $100 each and can be bought online, and we'll post this in our hallway as well then too. Proceeds from the event will support student scholarship funds then too. And what else do I have on here? Just that. And then last thing is the Forest Preserve of Cook County has an event coming up. Join the Forest Preserves of Cook County staff on Wednesday, August 28th from 3 till 6 p.m. at Rubio Woods for a play date with the preserve designed for children 3 to 10 years old of nature. It's a nature play date, and it'll give your child a chance to unwind and enjoy the outdoors. They're going to provide chances to build and create natural objects and engage in sensory activities, explore nature, and more. This event is free, open to the public, and family friendly. Please feel free to share this information, obviously with friends and family. And again, that's at Rubio Woods on Wednesday the 28th. And the only other thing I had on my report then was item number 1 was a request to approve a Class FG liquor license for the Pilot Truck Stop located at 12680 South Kedzie in Alsip. This request will increase the number of Class FG licenses from 9 till 10. Again, trustees, the Pilot Truck Stop is a true truck stop where they already have video gaming in this truck stop because obviously our state allows. They want the ability, like all the other gas stations then too, that should they wish to serve a, Becky, you said for like a beer or a glass of wine or a bottle of wine that they're handling, per our ordinance is what they're, that's the reason for this. Otherwise, they already had gaming at their establishment. And that's all I have for this evening. Clerk's report.
Thank you, Mayor Ryan. Presentation of the July 2019 IDOT motor fuel tax allotment in the amount of $44,557.82. That is all, Mayor Ryan.
Very good. I want to move a couple of quick things around here in the interest of time for some of the folks that attended tonight's meeting. Trustee Juarez, would you mind speaking to your planning and zoning report? We've got a couple of people here in case there's any questions.
I have a presentation of a list of licenses dated August 12th through August 23rd, 2019. And I also have a request for approval of a variance in height for a new warehouse of property located at 12200 South Laramie, case number 2019-08-V-100. The Planning and Zoning held a meeting on Wednesday, August 14, 2019, with the vote of 6-1 in favor of approval. We have Steve Zaranis and Marty Slevin here from Coca-Cola to answer any questions that you may have.
Steve, Marty, you want to come up just for a second in case anybody has a question? And again, just to review with everyone, the Village of Alsip has an ordinance that says you can build up to 45 feet tall. Your request on behalf of Coca-Cola was to go possibly 90 to 100? Is that what you're looking for with that? Yeah, you have to kind of speak right into the mic there, guys.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to get bids, and we're trying to go about it. We don't know the exact height yet, but we're trying to see if we can go up to 100 and most likely lower.
Okay, so it may not go that tall, but we were just looking for the window or the variance to do so. And again, I explained this at an earlier board meeting too, but based on this design as well too, the thing that I just love about this idea is that you're going to have the opportunity to increase your product lines there at the
Correct.
at the facility.
Yeah, we're adding a new bottling line coming in, which is going to make Monster as well as a bunch of other like slim cans and different packages. And so, and it gives us the option to continue to expand that distribution plant by doing this.
That's great. It creates a lot of jobs and stuff then too. So, trustees, did you have any questions for Coca-Cola?
Not necessarily for Coca-Cola, but I don't understand how planning and zoning could have approved this if there were no specifics provided. I mean, we don't know what the actual plans are, so how are we just supposed to say yes?
It's up to height. That's all. That's the question being asked, is up to height. As far as that's what once they've affirmed from us that they can go up to this height.
We've already done that.
But
Did that a couple meetings ago, that we
We
already
did-
said yes, go up to 100.
we did, but it didn't. It actually, we wanted to just know. They needed to know before they spent any more money on engineering. We're covering all of our bases and stuff then too. So this is where all the money's going to be spent now, is in engineering, and they wanted our approval to do such and so forth, up to 90 to 100. But again, as far as design goes and everything else, that's still yet to be presented. Right. So. Yeah. Marty, I'm sorry, if you would, gentlemen, can you just sign in because you spoke to us this evening too? Thank you very much. Next, we had, I didn't see Frank DeLiberto here. Okay, that's all right. We'll revisit that later. Maybe I hung up.
If you wanted me just to provide
Sure.
an update, the person that was supposed to come and present on behalf of Frank DeLiberto, he had a minor knee injury over the weekend, so they will present at the next board meeting.
That's fine. Okay. Then I'll move to public forum. We had two members that introduced themselves before tonight's meeting representing the enterprise zone. Randall, do you want to come up and speak? If you can remind everyone too, please, Randall, what the enterprise zone is real quick then too.
This is Randall Barenthal.
I apologize. I'm sorry. I was when
Andrew.
Andrew and Randall. Thank you.
No problem. So I'm with Antero Group. My name is Andrew Johansson, for any meeting minutes that are being made. We are here to request approval of the CalSag Enterprise Zone expansion. CalSag Enterprise Zone, just for those that aren't familiar with it, in 1982, the state of Illinois approved something called the Enterprise Zone, and now it's been rolled out over all these years throughout the region. I just want to briefly speak to what it's done for Alsip. It's created 216 jobs and retained 764 additional jobs. But out of the CalSag Enterprise Zone, there are actually 17 municipalities. Alsip's already one of them. And anytime there's a modification to this zone, we need approval from each of the communities involved. And so what Randall is passing out right now to each of the trustees, to the mayor, and to the village clerk is a map of the 4 towns that are slightly amending their enterprise zone. The enterprise zone allows for tax credits and reduction in costs for businesses that are being that are either relocating or expanding within the zone. It includes sales tax exemption, exemptions for machinery and equipment, and investment tax credits. What we're talking about today are 4 communities within the zone: Hazelcrest, Homewood, Markham, and Oak Forest. They're amending their boundaries slightly, and when I mean slightly, it's less than half a square acre, so this is more of a formality. It's nothing entirely new, but it is something that we wanted to introduce to you. So we will be providing the ordinance for the trustees and for the mayor to review prior to the next board meeting, but we wanted to at least introduce this to you today.
Yes, Andrew. So, as you said, because we are a participating member, all members will vote to allow the expansion. Right. Go ahead, Kent. You want to ask a question?
When the enterprise zone was redone, not long afterwards, the village board at the time requested a revision to it, and it never got around to all of the other municipalities. So I know there's 4 municipalities here, but the first one in line for a revision was actually the village of Alsip, and I'm wondering where that is part of this.
Yeah, so we were actually asking all the communities whether they wanted to amend at this time. At this time,
We already amended it, though.
yeah, I could get more information historically for you, but as far as from our perspective, what we received, we're working with Mary Schmidt, who's in charge of the CalSag Enterprise Zone, and for this round, Alsip wasn't included, not by her choice. It was just maybe a choice of leadership. I'm not sure. Maybe Mary, you can tell.
So as Ken said, how about Andrew, how about if do you have all the same paperwork?
It was passed by the board not long after it was amended, after the new enterprise zone came through. There was something passed by the board at that time, and it never got the push that this seems to be getting. And it changed some of the boundaries within Alsip, but it needed all the other communities, and it just never happened. So,
Okay.
Do you have any idea when about that
Yeah.
was?
I do not. I do not have that history.
Do you, Ken?
I would be
I
happy
don't.
to look
We're
into
going to
it.
have to come through the clerk's
Well,
office.
that's what I was starting to say was, how about tomorrow? Let's dig that up. And Andrew, I would like to resubmit that. If you're asking all these villages to do, I'd like to be included in that then.
Yeah, so what this meeting was intended to do is to introduce it.
Yep.
So I'm glad to get this type of feedback.
Sure.
We will then speak with Mary about this and make sure that everybody's on board, and any other questions that any of the trustees may have, you can also provide that during this time.
Okay. Trustees, do you have any questions for Andrew right now?
No.
All right, then tomorrow, Kent, let's find that paperwork, let's resubmit that. I don't have any of
I
that
think it
from...
went up Cicero. I can't remember what it was, but
We'll look it up tomorrow.
I'll work with the clerk's office.
Okay. Thanks much, Andrew. Randall, thank you. And if you would, as well, thank you for the clerk. I don't think we have anybody else here to speak to a particular item. Let's move forward then with the public forum. Anyone in the audience wish to address the board this evening? Nobody? Then we'll move to standing committee reports. The Finance Committee, Trustee McGlowan.
Under Finance, I will have a list of payroll and accounts payable for approval, and that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay. Next was the Fire Committee, Trustee Murphy.
I have a request for approval to hire Tom Leah to replace Doug Daniels as a part-time fire prevention officer. A request to hire form was submitted at a previous meeting. And number 2, a request for approval to purchase 2 2020 F-150 pickup trucks to replace car number 211, a 2007 Explorer, and car 2001, a 2010 Explorer, for a cost not to exceed $63,636. Terry's Ford was the lowest price, and this has been budgeted for this fiscal year. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Chief, I'm sorry, clarification for myself. The $63,636, that is the total for all 3 vehicles?
2.
Both vehicles, 2 vehicles.
Okay. Thank you.
And Kent, just to confirm, that is accurate, we did appropriate for that?
We appropriated $100,000 to replace both vehicles and equipment.
Okay. Yeah, because we still have to outfit them yet and stuff yet, too. Okay. And then Tom Lee is a great guy. I think you have a great candidate there for fire prevention.
Absolutely.
Okay. And if, I know we saw, but just for the public's benefit, Tom, what was his position again prior?
Tom started originally with the Chicago Ridge Fire
You know what?
Department.
Do me a favor. Can you grab one of those mics? Kent, can you hand that, please? Thank you.
Tom originally started with the Chicago Ridge Fire Department. When he left there, I believe he was a lieutenant, if I remember from his resume, his application. He went to Orland. In 1999, he was there for 10 years. He left as a fire prevention officer and inspector, and then he went to Northern Illinois Fire Sprinkler Advisory Board, and he just put in his 2 weeks' notice with there. He's been with them for almost 20 years now.
Wow. Okay.
So he's kind of looking at scale back on things and still be involved, and he has a very long history and great knowledge of fire prevention. So it'll be a great asset to work with Joe Schmidt. Right now, Doug's been gone almost a month now, and we have a lot of stuff that's backing up. So we're trying to get Tom all settled in, and we have to send him for his physical, and that's the only requirement that we have to do right now. So we're looking around the 1st of September.
Very good. I've met him a few times over the last 2 years I've been here, and great guy. And
Absolutely. So looking forward to moving forward again.
Good. Any questions, trustees?
No.
Anybody? Thank you, Tom. Chief. Next, the Police and Traffic Safety, Trustee Dalzell.
Your request for approval to build 3 police Ford Explorers, Public Safety Director, cost not to exceed $65,000. New builds include the cameras at $5,200 each, installation of new equipment, stripping of the old equipment, and equipment purchases such as lighting. They'll be recycling 3 rifle racks, 3 sideband radios, and 3 siren box controllers. And also looking for permission to utilize ox cart permit systems to regulate and issue permits to the overweight, oversized trucks, to trucks that travel on the village streets. Trucks are already permitted to operate on county and state roads. This would require them to be permitted on our roads as well, and the use of the system is free to the village. That's all I have, sir.
Very good. Thank you. Chief Miller, how are we doing with getting rid of some of the old squads? Are we still on pay? Are we having to get rid of right now, or are they going to auction coming up or anything?
We won't have anything to get rid of until the new ones come in.
Okay.
So they're still on order.
Okay.
They're expected to be here about October, I think.
Very good. And Chief, you and I talked about the ox cart, and as you said, this actually will require anybody using oversized equipment to have to get a permit to do so?
Correct. Public Works Superintendent Frater and I sat through a webinar on it last week, and it seems relatively easy to use. A lot of the trucking places already use the system. They already check the system to see if a permit's required. So rather than calling and asking us, that information will already be in there, and they just submit their payments and everything through them, at which point, not sure if it's a monthly or quarterly, but we'll receive a check from them that can go towards streets.
Okay. Where do you see this mostly getting used, though? In a lot of the small industrial streets and stuff, or?
Well, a lot of the industrial areas will definitely, it'll be used in those areas when they're bringing in new equipment or heavy equipment.
Yeah.
It'll be a benefit for those areas, but a lot of the other towns around us are already using it.
Sounds good. Okay, thanks, Chief. Next was the Public Work and Boat Launch, Trustee Juarez.
I have a request for approval to purchase one 2020 Freightliner 108 SD dump truck with snowplow and salt spreader through Sourcewell NJPA in the amount not to exceed $177,803. That's all, Mayor.
Seems like enough. And again, we appropriated for this and everything in our budget this year. Okay.
And, actually, that's another unit like the last one. It's coming in as a demo to us. So
Okay.
We're actually seeing a really good price for this type of truck. And also includes a 5-year extended warranty.
Okay, so again, unfortunately, Mike didn't have a mic, so folks who are watching us at home, the last truck we bought 2 seasons ago, or was that last year? Last year, we actually got a demo, saved considerable money. How much should we save, Mike, more or less on that?
That last one was about $50,000.
Almost $50,000 we saved just purchasing a demo. Nothing wrong with the demo. How many miles are on something like that? 2,000 miles on the truck and stuff then too. But again, for the savings, that's great. So Sourcewell is going to do the same thing. They're going to set us up with a demo for this? Okay.
We're looking at about $25,000 savings.
Okay. Mike, what's the window to order this and get it and everything though too?
You could see it end of December or first part of January.
Okay, so maybe 3 months out. Okay.
We'd have it this winter.
Okay.
Includes a 5-year warranty.
And with a 5-year warranty too. Okay.
No snow till January.
Next is the sewer and water report. Trustee Nava Esparza.
We just had the bid opening tonight for the water main extension on Pulaski Road on 120th Street. Hopefully brought to a vote next week, September 3rd. And then also moving forward with an RFP for painting of the 2 water towers. Hopefully we'll bring that up on the September 9th committee meeting.
Okay.
And that's all, Mayor.
Okay. Next, Building and Health Departments, Trustee Zelinski.
I have a request for approval of a special event from Walgreens at 12290 South Pulaski on Saturday, September 14th, 2019, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Next is the Human Resource and Insurance Committee report. Trustee Murphy.
I have a request for approval of a committee consensus to raise higher rate $3,750 to $55,000 per year for finance associate position. I also have a discussion to review the revision of the village's current vacation policy for non-union personnel.
So I want to go back real quick and just, anybody have any questions? Right now, thank you, Shanae. HR, Shanae Hunter and Kent have been evaluating candidates that applied for that particular job as a finance associate. Go ahead, Shanae.
Yes, so we have had 4 actual in-person interviews. I have conducted quite a few phone screens, and the reason this is coming up because majority of the phone screens that I've had, either the candidates rejected based on the salary that was placed, or I've actually had 2 that agreed to interview and then later called back to decline the interview. We actually have a candidate that did come into interview who's a pretty strong candidate, but we are shy of what the candidate is currently making. So I think if we were able to bump it to the 55, that we'll be more competitive to attract this particular candidate.
So currently we budgeted how much? $51,250?
Correct.
Okay. Which is where the difference of $37.50 comes in. Okay.
Where did we get that original number from?
Your survey, right?
No, it's higher than what was on the survey. It was originally $50,000, and then when raises get built into the budget for this year, it went up by the raise amount.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, because my survey actually said 54K between 57K, if I'm not mistaken.
Nope. I actually have it here.
Because I know I said we weren't too far off.
49,343, 46,291, 45,595.
None of
Survey
them.
This was
Okay.
this is the one you provided to us when we were approving the job description.
Okay, that's the actual municipal comps. I'm referring to like the Glassdoor and the Indeed comps that I provided.
So, like you said, the Glassdoor comparables.
Glassdoor and the Indeed comps were between 54 and 57. So what Trustee McLaughlin read off, I'm pretty sure that was the municipal comps.
Okay. So that's the question of the board is whether or not we want to increase that rate of pay for a finance associate from $51,250 to $55,000.
Correct.
Kent, and obviously you and Shanae both conducted the interviews. How do you feel about that candidate?
We have one candidate that's much stronger than the other candidates we've looked at so far.
Okay.
And we both like that candidate walk-in independently.
Okay. Trustees, any questions?
Didn't we do something similar to this with an HR person a few year or so back, and it didn't work out very well?
That was not with an HR person. Shanae's been the only HR person here for a couple of years.
Previous.
The previous HR got a substantial raise. That was a lot more than $3,700. Yeah.
It didn't work out very well. I'm just saying, it's
I wasn't in favor of it. I believe I voted against it, you know. I thought, and I think when you go back, I forget what the increase was on that too, but it was substantial.
It was
wasn't
33%.
33%. This is what, 8% from where we were at?
Yeah, and then I think it's important to keep in mind, again, like I said, the difference between the Glassdoor and the Indeed comps versus actual municipal comps. Our pool is not municipal workers. They typically are those coming from private sector. So I think that's what really makes the difference. The other candidates who, again, were okay with the 51-250, they were really green candidates, like just graduated from college.
Except wasn't that what this was supposed to be? I
Yeah.
mean, it's an entry-level position where we're not requiring any experience.
But there is certain experience that we needed as far as strong Excel skills that weren't there with certain candidates. This candidate is, I would say, still beginner because he has 1 year, like a little bit over a year of actual on-the-job experience, plus those really strong Excel skills that we were looking for.
If you can just refresh my memory, the minimum requirements was a bachelor's degree.
Yes.
How many years of experience, work experience, like 1 to 2, 2 to
None.
3? None?
None.
And
Right.
then just with my experience in regards to working in higher ed and career coaching, hundreds of students, average salaries for an undergrad with a finance degree or accounting is around $55,000. Not sure how that translates into municipal, but just, I think that given the experience of the candidate, if you feel strongly about the recommendation, then I wouldn't be opposed to it.
That was reasonable.
Good. Trustee?
Are we lacking qualified candidates for what we advertised? So for what we advertised, do we receive any candidates that applied for, interviewed at that given rate?
We've interviewed 4 people. We were not, one candidate was something that we were both happy with. There has subsequently been another candidate that we have not had an opportunity to interview that we are going to interview, I believe, right? You made the appointment for? No. That one's canceled as well. Okay. We have one candidate we like, and that's the only one. And that particular candidate currently does make more money than that job is offered at.
But many times we've had conversations with compensation levels, and then we talk about all the other aspects of municipal benefits. So the health insurance, the pension, whatever. So there's certain intrinsics that are there outside of a dollar.
And to a certain extent, you are correct. There is going to be another thing about benefits on the next item on the agenda, where it is not competitive. But when it comes to health care, we have a very generous health care package.
Right. And so time and time again, as we've discussed different aspects of it, you've been one of the ones who have always said, but for. So you've talked about dollar amounts, and then you said, however, but for the benefits.
That's correct. I will say, though, with regards to the generation younger than I am, the retirement benefits of IMRF don't have the same weight that they would for my generation. And the reason for that is a couple-fold. One, they are Tier 2, so it is 10-year cliff vesting. 9.5 years in, if they left government work, they'd get the money they put in without even any interest on it. So the benefit has declined, as it were. The other thing about that generation is that they are less likely to work at one job for a career. So to say you get a retirement benefit, but you have to be in that particular job 10 years. The concept of being in a job for 10 years for the millennial generation is strange to them. And so it's not the benefit that it once was for two reasons. Again, the health care is a generous benefit. The sick time is a generous benefit. There's no doubt about that.
Where did we advertise this position?
So we advertised on Indeed, and then we also advertised through Handshake. And Handshake is a program that works in conjunction with a bunch of colleges. So it was posted to, I want to say, maybe about 9 different schools altogether, as well as our village website and Facebook page.
Well, I'm just thinking, I mean, we've got, as the mayor mentioned, we've got Trinity just up the road a piece who's celebrating their birthday coming up, and St. Xavier is local.
So Handshake works with schools like St. Xavier, IIT, DePaul, and it's quite a few of them in there.
I also shared it to my alma mater, the College of Urban Planning and Public Affairs. They have a master's in public administration program, and my degree as well.
I think we had a few candidates from Lewis University.
It was at Governor State. The Handshake account covers a wide variety of colleges that it disperses it to.
And just to piggyback on what Kent said, I've been in the same position for 22 years, and I have never seen in those 22 years how difficult it is to hire right now based on a selling point of benefits. It's almost like it doesn't matter. What I have found is that they're all looking for the juice up front, the better wage, and the rest is immaterial. When you try to explain something like pension, health care, it's almost like talking to a wall in certain scenarios, or how pension plans actually work. It just doesn't matter. I have to pay my bills now. This is what I'm looking for, this wage. That's why it's been so difficult for me to hire in my certain situation right now. It's just a different world right now.
So I guess I'm going to go back to Shanae, you being the HR manager. Obviously, I'm just going to go one quick circle. You were saying that you would think that, do you feel this is a fair salary to offer as a $55,000 salary?
And I do, and again, I'm just delivering the feedback that I'm getting when I'm talking to candidates. And the feedback that I'm getting is either, someone they're expecting 60 and 80, or the ones that we have gotten in that were okay with the 51 to 50, they weren't quite there with some of the key skills that we needed. So again, with this one candidate who was, again, just a bit over at the 55, and I think, I'm pretty confident that he's will be an exceptional candidate because he has some really strong qualities. I think it's worth it, the consideration.
If we were to, because I've been big on let's put it this way, your compensation. I've always said that, even when we had collective bargaining agreement conversations and everything else too. Everyone has to look at that as a whole, because that's what's being put forth. That's really what you're getting, and that's what we're, salary-wise and everything else, that's what we're appropriating for. That's what we're budgeting. I don't think it would hurt to take one more run at the candidate and say we've had this conversation this evening, although it's being broadcast here, but unless there was a show of hands that strongly wanted to go with the 55,000, can we reiterate the benefit package behind it, and how quickly that candidate might find themselves in that particular wage within the next couple of years? I mean, based on cost of living adjustments and stuff like that then too. I mean, it's not like you're going to be stuck there very long, I mean, it just, that's what I'm saying, the patience sometimes might work well. that kind of thing. But certainly, it's our job as a board. You've been doing this interviewing, and that's why we bring these, but tonight's a committee meeting. It's the only time we're going to have to let all you folks know what we're talking about here and stuff then, too. So we have to bring this to the table. How do you feel about it? You don't think I'll move on it, huh?
I could be wrong. The offer wasn't made.
Right.
The offer wasn't made to that person, and I could be wrong. But that person did say that they were currently paid slightly higher. They took the interview because they were interested as to what it was. It was something different than what they were doing. They have a job currently. They're not out of a job. So
The candidates that you have that are lacking the skills that are needed, can't you train them?
No, it's accounting, and it's mainly Excel.
Back to
And there's no way I can train someone in Excel. I just can't. I can't, not to the level. I mean, it would take years to get them to the level I'd need them to be at. I expect them to have those.
Years in Excel.
Not years.
I don't
but
know of
it's the
anything in Excel that
experience.
takes
The
years.
experience, not the true training, but the experience. It takes a long time to be comfortable to do some of those more advanced stuff. It does.
I personally feel you should just keep looking. I mean, I don't.
I think we'd be letting a good candidate go. I really do, for marginal change in salary.
I would support your recommendation.
I mean, I think where I have the biggest issue, though, is that the starting salary right now for a brand-new police officer is also $51,500. And, I mean, and comparatively speaking, I mean, the police officer that we're hiring, that we're also requiring education from, also, entry-level position, they're putting their life on the line.
The person,
An accountant, what are they going to get?
The
a paper
candidate
cut?
that we have has an MBA with a specialty in accounting.
I mean,
But that's not something we were looking for.
Police putting their
Actually,
life on the line.
we did say we'd prefer, it could be a match.
It's what the market dictates. And if they're not getting quality candidates at that price level,
Keep looking.
I agree. I agree that if what we're offering out there, we're not getting anybody to accept for an interview, then we've priced it too low for the market, or we've put our expectations too high. If what we're looking for is somebody who's got a bachelor's degree with zero experience, then the person who's got the MBA, kudos to them for that aspect of it, but it's more than what we're looking for, and I'm sure that if we up this thing another 10G, we'd probably get somebody even more qualified. And I don't think, I mean, if we kept on, as we keep on throwing money at this, pretty soon it's 10, it's 15, it's $20,000. When we went through the budget a long time ago, it was proposed that this was a fair salary. So where I'm hung up is that it was proposed it was a fair salary. And now it's not a fair salary because you've got a bird in the hand. And I get it. This person is attractive to you and that they interviewed well. My problem is that they interviewed. They're not doing the job. They've not demonstrated anything yet. Maybe on the other hand, you sit there and you hire this person at this rate, understanding that, well, hey, after you've demonstrated that you can do the job and you're impressing us, then a fair move on the salary. But right now, it's a hope and a prayer. And we've been disappointed before.
And I fully get that. I want to go back to your earlier point, and then I'll address that. What Shanae was saying is she was getting a lot of applications when they didn't know the salary range. As soon as they knew the salary range, the number of applications was dwindling greatly. She had a few of them book for interviews, and when they booked for the interviews, they ended up dropping, 2 people dropped out.
Then shame on us for not advertising properly.
And let me speak to that, because that was my little tactic of trying to at least get them in, so then I can explain all of the benefits that we do have, so that will probably compensate for what the salary was. So that was my tactic that I was trying to use in regards to posting the job and not advertising the salary right away. I wanted to be able to get the person to at least start to have a conversation and tell them about all the other things that we offer.
I think judging by the temperature gauge on this board right now, it doesn't seem like there's enough support to do this. I'd like to ask that the two of you go back and renegotiate with the candidate and reiterate the benefit package that comes with this, and see if we can't land a good candidate with that, okay?
Again, in all fairness, I would like to sit there and say that obviously you're impressed with this candidate. I'd be more than willing to sit there and revisit this again once they prove their worth.
Would we consider, as a board, doing a 6-month review of the candidate? Would they accept that?
That's not our purview. You know,
we can't do that?
I think it's past what we as trustees are supposed to be doing.
Right.
So I think that we have a dollar amount and we're supposed to be,
Right, it's
managing.
policy and expenditure.
Yeah.
All right, so that's, okay.
And
It would be tough to make a promise that we'd look at it in 6 months, but there's no guarantee of a wage increase. Obviously, that'd be based on performance, but if there was exceptional performance, there's no guarantee that there would be any change. There's no commitments to any change if there is. So we're going to evaluate someone after 6 months.
there's no guarantee for anybody. All the non-bargaining members of this village, there's no guarantee.
I get it.
So why would we provide something to somebody that we don't even know yet when we're not making that same commitment to our own employees?
And it's fine, going back to what I said, you know, this is the only opportunity we have all week to bring this to the committee, and which is what we're doing here. And again, I think it's in our best interest, and I can respect Chief Miller's comments as well, too. I mean, we know how hard it is to field good, police and firemen at the same time. So, I mean, I know it's a different skill set, I understand the degrees and everything else, but we did appropriate a budget for this. Let's go ahead with our budget one more time, okay?
The only other thing I'm going to say is the timing. We're already out with an RFP on the audit. We need more staff to do the audit. That's a ways away, but I was actually going to try to train that person to do the audit for this year, and that window is dwindling.
Understood. And if that candidate's watching me...
We're going to basically, I think, go back to the drawing board on this. I think we're going to have to re-advertise this whole thing.
I don't think I'd look at that right away. I think if we have a good village here, this is a good place to work, a great place to work. And again, we're blessed to have some really good employees here. I think if the candidate's watching this and understands what I'm saying, they'll possibly reconsider. Thank you. And obviously, Trustee Murphy, and I apologize because I jumped back to number 1, but you had number 2 on here, was to review the revision of the village's current vacation policy?
Yes, for non-union personnel.
Okay. And what were we speaking to on that?
I've read the policy, and again, I go to the private sector, and because that's what I know. I just looked at it, and I felt that it's very dated. I think it needs revision, and I think it would be a very tough pill to swallow for any prospective candidate to come in, if they get that far, to look at this and to say, well, I have to be here for potentially over a year in order to get any vacation time at all. And Kent, you could speak to this a little bit better.
Or even Shanae, I mean, what do you say?
Shanae?
So, again, in my, just phone screening candidates and speaking with people, this kind of goes hand in hand with the salary. Figuring out the vacation is pretty dated. People are expecting more, again, on the professional side, vacation earned up front or at least after a shorter period of time than what we have and what we're currently offering. And again, I think it's important that we take into consideration that with professional positions, we're not really getting other professionals from other municipalities. They're coming from the private sector, so they're having certain expectations. And so, again, I think that's just why we wanted to put it out there for the board to consider revising that policy.
And I'd have no issues overall addressing the vacation policy, provided we also address the sick pay and the floating holidays at the same time. Because while we talk about, okay, we're not giving employees a lot of vacation days up front, but I can guarantee the private sector is not giving anybody 12 sick days a year or 4 floating holidays on top of every other holiday.
And
So-
2 extra bonus sick days.
Yes. So if we're going to address one, we need to address the entire paid time off package.
And I don't believe that we've had a single person hired here since me who didn't get vacation front-loaded.
No, we don't offer that.
As I recall, and you know, most of the people who were my employees at the time were collective bargaining, but we front-loaded everything. So if you were hired 6 months prior, you got half that earned vacation.
Not to my knowledge, no.
Did you get any vacation your first year here?
No.
No.
You didn't?
Absolutely not. Nothing through
Okay, I
April
feel so
1st.
alone.
No, that's kind of what we're talking
Like your
about here,
policy.
right? And the
To me, that's what it
current,
should be.
yeah.
It's dated.
It should be front-loaded. You're hired here 6 months before, you get half of your vacation. I agree.
Now, we've had situations, as Trustee Murphy just said, depending on when your hire date was, you know, based on fiscal year, yeah, you could be out for 15 months before you saw any
I don't-
time off, that kind of thing, you know?
I truly don't believe, though, that people haven't gotten that benefit.
Oh, no, I mean, Becky, she didn't get, and a lot of people.
You guys have
yeah.
seen-
And I
Yeah,
was
you
going
don't
to say,
count.
even with myself, I started in December of 2017. So when May came, I think I only had, and you were in the same boat, we had like maybe 3 vacation days to last us until now, again, May 1st of 2019.
Because that's all they were able to accrue over that
Right.
5-month period, yeah.
I agree, it's wrong. Plus, here in this section, in Section A, it says hired through the next April 1st, and it should be May 1st.
So I think,
definitely something we should address.
I think Trustee Murphy, I think you're onto something good. I think what we need to do is map out what is versus where you want to be. And we can bring that back to the board for further discussion on that then, too.
Will do.
You know,
Bring it back as an ordinance and then it's described.
but I think,
Described in there pretty well.
I agree, but before we go all the way to ordinance, let's find a roadmap that we're all happy with and stuff then, too. Let's find something fair.
Trustee just pointed out, though, that Chris said a few moments ago, they don't care about the benefits.
That's right.
Maybe.
Some benefits.
Let's define that.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, let's, I think it always makes for a great conversation to figure out which way we want to be with that. So, if you would, please.
Again, there was pretty detailed in there of one particular policy. If we want to talk about it, that policy was in there, and it's one that I had
Policy
in
or
my
ordinance?
last. What?
Policy or ordinance?
The policy that would be made into an ordinance. The suggested structure for the ordinance was in that. And it's the same I had at my last municipality. It was the back end that earned it was a long time ago. And there is language in there that we could use to structure for an ordinance.
I get it, but like I said, you know, I think we all physically want to have something in our hand to work with and stuff, and if it takes 2 weeks to get, then let's do it the next committee meeting then, too. Okay.
Are we now considered a private sector, not a government or a municipality, or? I mean, why are we going along lines with someone else when we're actually sort of different?
Again, we didn't even address that majority of people get 2 weeks at the beginning, and that's not what they get coming out of college. They get more than that. We're not addressing that. There still is differences here, but it's the not having any vacation days for a long portion of time, whether it's a year or some days, and if it's somewhere up to 2 years, but it's very few. There still is a difference in terms of how many vacation days. We're just changing when they're earned.
I mean, after they're here a full year, they get vacation.
Not a full year.
Not always.
Up to 2 years.
Not the way it's
Our
written.
schedule starts May 1.
The fiscal year is where it turns everything around. They could potentially go 15 months and not have any vacation.
Well, no, they can accrue, but like, as Shanae said,
They can go up to 13 with none, and by 15, they'd have 3 days in 15 months.
that's what she was saying, when she was hired, she had
Excuse
all
me.
5 months before we reached a
That's
fiscal
crazy.
year.
If we can
and she
accrue
got
it,
3
why don't we
days
just
off
change the
entire
policy
year.
so they could actually use it? That way we're not actually
essentially
giving more
that's-
away.
That's how we're not saying give more away. Essentially, it will be changing the accruing policy. But again, I do understand your point with we are a municipality. And so actually, like within my HR group, I have been reaching out to a lot of the surrounding municipalities to get their vacation policy, and, so we can have some comps. And so far, I have one that did respond back, and theirs is after 6 months. So again, they're even getting the opportunity to use their vacation quicker than someone on our side. So, but when I do get that data back, I'll be more than happy to share it with the board.
I think the whole thing is just the accrual, is to be able to use your time sooner than later, but you're accruing the time. You have to earn the time off, and that's the point we want to get across to everybody. We're not giving away any extra time. It's the accrual time. And like you said, Shanae, you know, here, actually at the time, in December of 2017, you came on board, Becky came on board as a full-time employee, Erica O'Donnell came on as, you know, in a different position, so everybody was moving around at that time. And all of a sudden, like, let's say you got 3 good employees, and each only accrued 3 days off that you had an entire year to use. 3 days, that's it. You had to wait a whole nother calendar year to do that all over again then, too. You were accruing time for the next calendar year, but you didn't have more to use. Right. So
It needs to be front-end loaded.
Right. And that's a shame, because you had 3 great employees, and you were in the same boat when you came on, even as a treasurer and, you know, a finance director.
Not for the first 4 months and a few days for the year after that.
Right, and a few years back, we did tweak that for management and stuff then too, but at the same time.
But it's still a front-end loaded. You still have that same problem.
Sure. All right, thank you. Trustee Murphy?
I also had, this did not make it onto the agenda, but we did have a meeting scheduled today with the mayor, Shanae, and I. I unfortunately could not make that meeting due to work constraints, but it was a discussion on changing healthcare brokers from Horton to Alliant Mesereau. I was not in that meeting, but Shanae, could you speak to how that transpired?
So again, we had our meeting today with Alliant Mesereau. They basically provided us their service menu as far as the services they can provide to the village regarding hosting open enrollment meetings, providing quarterly reports. They'll do the benefit guide design. They'll give us key performance indicators, as well as providing the technology things such as like your telemedicine and the Blue Value Advisor for shopping for medical resources. So we did lay out all of our information as far as the type of plans we have, what we were looking for to, I guess, go for in the future on how we want our plans to operate, so we can make sure that we're incorporating wellness more. We know the plans are pretty much set as they are, you know, they're in the contracts, but it's more so those service items that we had the discussion on today.
So the reason I asked, and the board knows, I brought up the name of this insurance company a couple times over the last couple of years, was that really based on popularity And the size of their company, I think they're a good company to manage our insurance. Now, again, this is only dealing with healthcare insurance. This isn't workman comp or anything like that. The only thing that's being renewed January 1 is our healthcare policy. Nothing changes. We stay with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Blue Cross Blue Shield is the one who quotes the work to the broker, and the broker's commissions are already built into that quote. So there's no lobbying for commissions and all, and I certainly don't see the need in calling in 10, insurance brokers to bid on work like this. In the packet that I copied, I put in everybody's mailbox earlier, I asked them, I says, who do you represent around here? And they actually did have on here that the City of Blue Island, Hickory Hills, City of Oak Forest, Community High School District 218, Village of Bolingbrook, Chicago Ridge, Evergreen Park, Orland Hills, Riverdale, Tinley Park, Worth Township, I believe even Local 134 electricians, I believe too, he was telling me today. But we're not here to reinvent the wheel. I think to me, it's more important. I don't have any issues with Horton's service to our community right now. Because again, this is a separate policy from workman comp and all that kind of thing, but I want the board to consider these are professional services. And I think one thing we need to always look at is the idea that we were basically handed to Horton over 6 years ago, from our previous provider, which was Boyle, Flag, and Seaman. Yeah. And when they sold their retail insurance business, we were sold along with that to Horton Insurance. So the Village of Alsip has never changed insurance brokers. So, if you were handed to, in your own home, if you were handed to Allstate and you said to yourself one day, well, it's a good company, that kind of stuff, but do I challenge or do I try the services of State Farm or Geico or any of the rest? That's all we're doing here is we're changing the broker of record. Nothing else changes because the insurance policies don't change. Everything stays the same. And sometimes it's always a good practice, just like the board agreed to right now, is we're going out for auditing services. We haven't said that our auditor's done anything wrong, but it's always good to get a fresh set of eyes on things once in a while. It's professional services at the end of the day. And again, that's a fixed number from Blue Cross Blue Shield, so it's not like everybody's hammering on reducing their commissions to get the work, that kind of thing. That's a fixed number. And like anything else in this world, if we bring them on, and I told Renee today, the representative from Alliant Mesro, I says, if for any reason we weren't happy with service, that's where we go back in a year or two, and we can always shop it again. We can switch out again. But the thing to remember is, and the reason we're bringing this up now, is that, Shanae, you were told that our next renewal numbers, cost-wise, won't be coming out until mid-September. And Blue Cross will only hand that price to whoever the broker of record is, which is why this conversation is taking place now. We're not going to have one broker accept that cost and then say, well, no, I'm going to hand it to the other company instead. Blue Cross doesn't want to operate like that, nor do I. I want to be professional about this, and I want to be fair about it and stuff then too. We've been with the same brokerage, and like I said, I'm not saying anything negative about them, but we've been with the same brokerage for 6 years. And this is a different administration, these are different trustees, this is different everything than it was 6 years ago. And it's a fair conversation to have. Any questions?
How much more is it going to cost us?
None. That's what I'm getting at, is that number is controlled by Blue Cross Blue Shield.
So they're going to do the work for whatever fee that they hand out.
Whatever Blue Cross quotes us, that's the part that you can actually feel kind of confident about, that there's no fooling around with commissions. That's what I was saying. Blue Cross is going to be doing the one that quotes this number. And the commission, like when we pay, Trustee Linsky, when we pay Blue Cross, when we pay for our health care every month, we write a check directly to Blue Cross. We don't send it to the agent. We send it right to the provider, correct?
So what benefit are we looking for to get out of? this
Well,
new company?
that's what Sinead was just saying. Sometimes, although Horton's got some good services, sometimes you might find some value-added services at the same time. We might find something, and you were just running through the list, that's why I gave everybody a copy of the brochure that they gave us today, too. We might find a couple of things that we really like. We might find some more services there. And again, when you're talking about changing professional services, that's all you're doing, is changing, you might have one agent that you like over the other, you might find a company that you really like. But again, I think the thing that I really find confidence in is our HR manager is part of a regional group of nearby communities. They meet, Sinead, quarterly? And a lot of these towns are all being represented by the same company, by Alliant Mesro. And that's what I'm saying. I think they're doing their shopping for us by giving us all these referrals to say that they're a good company. And I have spoken to a few of the mayors that are represented on this list yet, too. And I'm at monthly, if not quarterly meetings all the time, and everybody's been very happy with their service. And I believe it's a good choice for us to try a different professional service for something like this. And again, it's not like this is totally apples to, let's put it this way, this is totally apples to apples. These are both very good companies. So what we're going to do is ask at next week's meeting for the board to approve a change in broker for healthcare renewal come January 1. And I did ask Renee today if she would be present at next week's meeting in case the board had any questions for her and stuff then too. Anybody?
And that's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Trustee Murphy. Next, special committee reports, economic development, Trustee Navas Barza.
Request to approve an expenditure of $10,450 to Environmental Emergency Management Services, Inc., Homewood, Illinois, for asbestos remediation at the former Edka Auto Sales properties now owned by the Village of Alsip. The village received 3 quotes, and this is the lowest cost submitted, and this expenditure was appropriated in the Pulaski Avenue TIF. And then we'll have a special board meeting.
Following this one,
Yes.
right.
Item 2, there was to be an update from Diliberto Real Estate Services, but the representative, Assad Kassar, emailed me this afternoon stating he sustained a knee injury, so he's not here tonight.
Okay,
And that's all I have, Mayor.
thank you. Next, village properties, Trustee McGlohan.
No report this evening, Mayor.
Okay. Ordinance legislation, Trustee Zelinski.
No report, Mayor.
Okay. IT, Trustee Dalzell.
There's a request for approval to purchase from Central Square Technologies, Navline Click-to-Gov online building permit and utility billing capabilities at an annual access fee of $8,652, which covers the licensing and support maintenance, plus a one-time setup fee of $10,800. I have no idea what this entails.
Kent, can you speak to this? I know Brian wasn't available tonight. Is that what happened?
Yeah, I can, but Dan or Roger can definitely jump in on this. We looked at something called Click-to-Gov. We have some, our system is called HTE, and that's our computer system. It runs all sorts of stuff throughout the village, including, from my point of view, the accounting software. But it runs the cashiering software on one end of the hall. It runs the utility billing. It runs a lot of our stuff. It's an ERP system. We have, on the web right now, we have the ability to pay bills, and you can pay your bill online on utility bills, but it doesn't have the ability to see your bill online. This system would allow you to see your bill online. It would also allow you not just to pay with credit cards, but you can also set it up so you can pay with your bank statements, which wouldn't have the same fees that we do for credit cards. And so it'd even be able to see your usage online for utility billing. From the point of view of the building department, they would be able to have anybody applying for different kinds of permits to not only type in their own information and get that out there to start the process, but to see where they are with the different kinds of permits and where the village is in terms of applying for those permits and get that information. So it's much more interactive. And it's at a very reasonable price. We had a meeting where a webinar with a conference call, and it was Dan Tribin, Roger Early, Brian Massari, Karen Bonneman, and myself, and all of us walked out there very impressed with the thing and thought this would be a great service to anyone applying for different kinds of things from the building department or anyone with a utility billing account. It just steps us up to the next level of service. And it was much more reasonably priced than we all walked out thinking, oh, this is great, and, you know, what are they going to hit us with? But it turns out that we actually have some of the modules already doing other things that it needs in order to do this, so the marginal cost isn't that great to it, because if we were doing it from scratch, it'd be a lot more, but we actually have some of the modules that it talks with.
Kent, I'm sorry, for a point of clarification, you mentioned that if somebody is applying for a building permit, that then they can follow through the system. Does that mean they're capable of seeing where their permit is in process as far as being approved, and or does it also have anything to do with, does it help predict the fees that they would possibly be paying?
Yeah, and Roger can step right up and interrupt me because my attention span was not, and that particular part was not as strong as he was. But I do remember you could see the different permits you were going through and where they are. It doesn't mean that Roger and his staff aren't, you know, it doesn't help them approve something. People still have to get the inspections. They still have to, but at least they're not having to call up to see where they are in the process. They can just go online at any given point and see where the village is at.
That accurate, Roger?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything you want to add?
No, so I would just add that, yes, for a customer portal, it's a reasonable price. On our water meter billing, meter reading system, they offered a online portal to our customers so that they can see essentially the same information, and it was 3 times the cost. So for a small amount of money annually split between the two departments, we're getting a pretty good benefit.
Kent, do we have money appropriated for this too?
I would come back and I'll let you know that, but we do have some software money. I don't know if we have it for it right now.
Okay.
I'll look at it.
All right. Any
That's all I
other
have, sir.
questions? Anybody else? Okay. Trustee Dalzell, anything else?
No, Mayor, thank you.
Oh, okay, thanks. Let's see, we covered plan and zoning. Any presentations, petitions, or communications? None? Any unfinished business? Any new business, trustees?
Next week's board meeting is on Tuesday,
Oh, yeah. Tuesday the 3rd.
just FYI.
All right.
Somebody tried to change it.
Yeah.
Can I get a-
Trustee Murphy, we will revisit next year's calendar towards the end of October, if that's okay with you.
Bless you, my dear.
You're
Bless
welcome,
you.
sir.
Can I get a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We'll adjourn this meeting at 8:48, and we have a short, we can go right into our,
Roll call for this one.
we have a board meeting. We can just flow into this then.
Hang on.
Come on, you can't leave it.
I'm assuming you want me to take roll call again?
Yes.
Got a call to order?
We'll call this special board meeting to order. Today is August 26, 2019. We'll call this meeting to order at 8:49 p.m. Can you call the roll, please?
Yes. Trustee Dalzell?
Here.
Trustee Zelinski?
Here.
Trustee Juarez?
Here.
Trustee McLaughlin?
Here.
Trustee Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Nava Esparza? Here. Mayor Ryan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Trustees, because we did, this special board meeting is following a committee meeting, I'm going to waive the Pledge of Allegiance because we had just done so an hour or so ago. And I'd like to move forward with these, with the small agenda that we have. Number 3 on the agenda is a public forum. Did anyone in the audience wish to address the board? Nobody? Then we'll move to number 4 on the agenda is a special committee report on economic development. Trustee Nava Esparza.
Approval of an expenditure of $10,450 to Environmental Emergency Management Services, Inc., Homewood, Illinois, for asbestos remediation at the former Edka Auto Sales properties, now owned by the Village of Alsip, as this expenditure was appropriated in the Pulaski Avenue TIF. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Trustees, just as a reminder, and those watching this meeting, as the Trustee Nava Esparza just pointed out, we did appropriate monies for asbestos remediation on property that the village currently owns. While this property is being made available at the end of September at an auction, we don't know yet if it's going to be sold at said auction, because we are going to be reviewing any applications or submittals and stuff and so forth at that time. But again, the current properties are not going to be used again for any kind of development. And because asbestos is present in the Edka Auto Sales property, we can't even tear the buildings down until we remove the asbestos from the building, which is why I brought this to the board this evening. Otherwise, we could be pushing this out even more time, because the problem that we incur sometimes is the fact that Cook County, not by any fault of their own, but they're a busy place, can take up to a few weeks to get us permits even to do this work. So we want to have this expenditure approved prior so that we can move forward, which is why I'm asking the board to approve this evening. So did anyone wish to remove this item from the agenda? Then can I get a motion to establish a consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call number 1 to establish the consent agenda. Trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Zelinski.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez.
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Nava Esparza.
Yes.
Motion carries to establish the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Roll call number 2 to approve the consent agenda. Again, approval of an expenditure of $10,450 to Environmental Emergency Management Services Incorporated, Homewood, Illinois, for asbestos remediation for the former Edka Auto Sales property, now owned by the Village of Alsip, as this expenditure was appropriated in the Pulaski Avenue TIF. Roll call number 2 to approve the consent agenda. Trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Zelinski.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez.
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Nava Esparza.
Yes.
Motion carries to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, everyone. Does anyone have any presentations, petitions, or communications to follow this meeting?
I'm sorry, I have your ordinance.
Go ahead.
It was 2016-71 for the amendments to the CalSag Enterprise Zone.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that again? 2017?
It was
16.
2016-7-1. It was approved unanimously on the consent agenda 6-0 on July 5th.
To adjust the...
To adjust the CalSag Enterprise Zone,
Zone.
and there had been a public hearing on June 2nd, 2016.
Very
Thank you,
good.
Kent.
Yeah. 3 years ago.
Memory, Kent.
We talked about that. Yeah, good memory, Kent. All right, thank you. Trustees, any unfinished business? Any new business? Then can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. We're going to adjourn this meeting then at 8:50. I'm sorry, 8:54. That was kind of a 1-minute meeting. 8:54 p.m. And again, thank you for everyone for joining us this evening. Have a great night.